Welcome to today's episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, presented by Elite Credit Solutions. We are your trusted partner in affordable credit repair, proudly based in Tampa, Florida, and dedicated to serving clients across the entire United States. Join us as we explore the intricacies of credit management, share expert insights, and empower you with the knowledge you need to achieve your financial goals. Get ready for an enlightening journey into the world of credit. Let's dive in.
All right, so you're thinking about jumping into online banking,
Yeah,
but you're smart to ask, is it really safe?
definitely a valid concern.
That's what we're diving into today,
Absolutely.
with some help from our friends at Experian, Investopedia, Synchrony Bank, and even the FDIC.
We've got a lot to unpack.
Just so much good info here.
From FDIC insurance to these security measures that online banks use
Great.
that might even make them safer than traditional banks.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
Right.
Always something unexpected.
Not sure.
So let's start with that big question.
Yeah.
If my money's not sitting in a vault,
Mm-hmm.
I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really protected?
That's where the FDIC comes in.
Okay.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Both traditional banks, brick and mortar,
Yeah.
and online banks
Okay.
can be FDIC insured.
So it doesn't matter which you choose.
Exactly.
So-
Your deposits are protected up to $250,000.
Wow.
Even if the bank goes under. Yep, it's the same level of protection no matter where you choose to bank.
Okay, so that's reassuring.
Yeah.
But what about hackers? It feels like every other day there's a new data breach in the news.
I know what you mean.
Are online banks just more vulnerable?
Actually, they might be less vulnerable.
Really?
Yeah, in some ways.
Okay, I'm listening.
One of the sources, Synchrony Bank,
Huh?
made a point that really stuck with me.
Okay, what's that?
Because online banks don't have physical branches.
Right.
Fewer employees have access to sensitive systems.
I'm a little skeptical.
Oh, yeah.
Fewer employees equals more security.
Yeah, think of it this way.
Okay.
Every time a human interacts with the system,
Uh-huh.
there is potential for error,
I guess so.
or whether it's accidental or intentional.
Right.
And we actually have this Verizon study here
Right.
that found that a whopping 74% of data breaches involved some kind of employee activity.
Wow, that's a lot.
So by minimizing that human element, online banks are actually reducing a significant vulnerability.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of counterintuitive,
It is.
but the logic checks out.
Totally.
But even if there are fewer employees,
Yeah.
aren't online systems themselves more vulnerable to hacking?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Online banks invest heavily in security measures,
Like what?
like encryption.
Okay.
And we're not just talking about basic encryption.
Uh-huh.
One article dives into AES 256 encryption, which is the gold standard.
Okay.
It's so strong that
Yeah.
even the NSA uses it for classified information.
NSA level security for my checking account.
You got it.
I'm impressed.
Haha.
But what about those pesky two-factor authentication codes?
I know.
It can be such a pain.
Yeah, they're not always convenient,
Right.
but they add an extra layer of protection.
Okay.
Think of it like, a security guard checks your ID before you can enter a building. Even if someone steals your password, they can't get into your account without that second code.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they've got the high-tech stuff covered.
Mm-hmm.
But what about good old-fashioned human error?
Totally get that.
We all make mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
So are online banks prepared for that?
Yeah, reputable online banks also have robust fraud monitoring systems.
Oh, wow.
In fact, one of the articles detailed a fascinating case study
Oh, really?
where an online bank system flagged a series of seemingly small transactions
Okay.
that were actually a sophisticated attempt at money laundering.
No way.
It picked up on a pattern that a human might have missed,
That's crazy.
and they stopped the fraud before any real damage was done.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah,
It sounds like online banks are really on top of their game when it comes to security.
they really are.
Okay, good to know.
But it's
Okay.
important to remember,
Yeah.
security is a two-way street.
What do you mean?
Even the most secure system is vulnerable if we don't do our part.
So what can we do to stay safe online?
Great question.
I'm guessing strong passwords are a good place to start.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Investopedia really stresses
Uh-huh.
the importance of unique passwords for each of your accounts.
Right. I hear that a lot.
Don't use the same password for your bank
Check.
that you use for your email or social media.
Got it.
It's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like using the same key for your house and your car.
Exactly.
Someone gets a hold of it. They have access to everything.
So how do you keep track of all those passwords?
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Right.
But Investopedia actually suggests
Yeah.
using a password manager.
Oh, I've heard of those.
It's a secure program that stores all your passwords.
Okay.
So you only need to remember one master password.
So it's like a vault for my passwords.
Exactly. Think of it like a digital vault for all your keys.
Okay, that sounds helpful.
It really is.
What else?
Another important tip, be really cautious about using public Wi-Fi for banking.
Oh, right.
You never know who else might be lurking on that network.
It's like a digital jungle out there.
Right. Potentially snooping on your data.
Oh, yeah. I always forget about that.
It's easy to overlook.
So coffee shop Wi-Fi is a no-go for checking my balance.
It's best to avoid it.
Right.
For any sensitive transactions, really.
Got it.
You know, use your mobile data
Uh-huh.
or wait until you're on a secure network.
Good to know.
It's just not worth the risk.
Makes sense.
What about those phishing scams?
Oh, yeah, those are scary.
I know, right?
How do they even work?
They can be very sneaky.
I bet.
They're often disguised as emails or texts
Oh, okay.
that look like they're from your bank
Okay.
or a legitimate company.
I see.
I actually got one recently
Oh, no.
that was supposedly from my bank,
Really?
warning me about suspicious activity on my account.
And you believed it?
It looks so real with the bank's logo and everything.
Wow, that's scary.
But I hovered over the link before clicking,
You're smarter than me.
and it was clearly a fake website address.
Oh, wow. So how can you tell if it's fake?
Always double check the sender's email address
Okay.
and look for misspellings or grammatical errors.
Good tip.
And never click on links or open attachments
Yeah.
from senders you don't recognize.
Okay, so just be extra careful.
Exactly.
Don't trust anything
Pretty much.
unless you're 100% sure.
And if you're ever unsure,
Yeah.
contact your bank directly
Okay.
using the number on the back of your card
Right.
or their official website.
So it sounds like online banking security
Yeah.
is a mix of high-tech measures
For sure.
and good old-fashioned common sense.
Exactly. The banks are doing their part,
Okay.
but we need to be vigilant too.
We can't just rely on them to protect us.
Right. Strong passwords, avoiding public Wi-Fi,
Uh-huh.
being aware of phishing scams,
Right.
it all adds up.
It's
Yeah.
like building our own little security systems.
Exactly.
And one thing that often gets overlooked
Oh, yeah. What's that?
is keeping our software up to date.
Oh, right.
Those updates might seem annoying,
I know.
but they often include security patches
True.
that can protect us from the latest threats.
It's like getting our digital flu shots.
Exactly.
Gotta stay up to date.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
Well, yeah.
talking about all these things online banks do to keep our money safe.
Right.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
Those high APYs and low fees,
Uh-huh.
those are pretty tempting too.
Absolutely. They're some of the biggest draws of online banks.
Right, so are there any downsides?
Well, as with anything, there are trade-offs.
So what are we giving up when we choose to bank online?
Good question.
Is it all sunshine and roses?
Well, not exactly.
Or are there some thorns hidden in there?
Let's explore that further
Okay.
in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. Stay with us.
All right. See you soon.
We've seen how online banks really step up their game when it comes to security.
Yeah, they've got some pretty impressive systems in place.
But let's be real, those high APYs and low fees,
Oh, absolutely.
those are pretty tempting too.
For sure. Those are some of the big draws.
Right, so are there any downsides? What are we giving up when we choose to bank online?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine and roses.
Right, are there some thorns hidden in there?
I'd say so. One of the most obvious differences
Okay.
is the lack of physical branches.
Yeah, that's true.
This can be a plus for some people,
Right.
but for others, it's a deal breaker.
I can see it. What happens if I need to deposit cash?
Right.
Do I have to mail it in?
Well, some online banks partner with ATM networks,
Okay.
for cash deposits.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as straightforward as walking into a branch
Right.
and handing it to a teller.
For sure. That's definitely more convenient.
Investopedia actually highlights this as one of the main drawbacks of online banking.
Okay, so it's something to consider.
Yeah.
What about talking to a real person? I mean, sometimes I really like to have that face-to-face interaction,
I hear you.
especially if I have a complicated issue.
Right. That personal touch can be important.
Exactly.
It's true that you won't have that same level of in-person support with an online bank,
Okay.
but a lot of online banks do offer a 204/7 customer service
Oh, wow.
via phone, email, or live chat.
24/7 support's pretty nice,
It is.
but I wonder about the quality of that support.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is it as helpful as talking to someone in person?
It really can vary,
Okay.
from bank to bank.
Right.
Reading customer reviews can give you a sense of what to expect.
That's a good idea.
And that CFPB database we mentioned,
Yeah.
that can also be helpful
For what?
for seeing if there are any patterns of complaints about a particular bank's customer service.
That's a great tip.
Yeah,
It's like checking the reviews before you book a hotel.
exactly. You want to know what other guests have experienced?
Right, exactly.
And speaking of things to watch out for, the Experian article had some really insightful advice.
Oh, yeah.
About what? About choosing a reputable online bank.
All right, lay it on me.
They stress the importance of looking beyond just the FDIC insurance.
So what else should we be looking for?
Well, one red flag
Uh-huh.
is a lack of transparency about fees.
Okay,
You want to make sure that the fee structure is clearly outlined on the bank's website.
that makes sense.
If you have to dig for that information, it could be a sign they're trying to hide something.
All right, good point.
I've also noticed
Yeah.
that some online banks might not offer the same range of services as traditional banks.
That's true. I've seen that too.
Like if you need things like business accounts,
Mhm.
loans, investment services,
Right.
you might be better off with a traditional bank
Right.
or a larger online bank that offers more.
Got it.
So it really comes down to your individual needs and priorities.
It's not one size fits all.
Exactly. For a lot of people, though, especially those who are comfortable managing their finances digitally
Uh-huh.
and are looking for those higher returns and lower fees,
Right.
online banks can be a great option.
Okay, so we've weighed the pros and cons.
Okay.
We've got some tools for choosing a reputable online bank.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
But even with all that,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like a lot of the responsibility
Yeah,
for staying safe falls on us, the users.
you got it.
We can't just rely on the banks to protect us.
Right, we need to be proactive about our own digital hygiene.
So, strong passwords,
Absolutely.
avoiding public Wi-Fi,
Yep.
being aware of phishing scams.
All important.
It all adds up.
It does, and one thing that people often overlook
So what's that?
is keeping our software up to date.
Oh, right, those updates.
I know they can be annoying,
They can be.
but they often include those security patches
Oh,
that can
yeah.
protect us from the latest threats.
Those that go in our digital flu shots.
Exactly.
Ah.
Got to keep our systems immunized.
So it's like we're building our own digital immune systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
The inner workings of FDIC insurance. The surprisingly sophisticated security measures
It's pretty impressive.
that online banks employ.
Yeah,
We also learned that choosing a reputable online bank
right?
and practicing good digital hygiene are essential
Absolutely.
for a safe and rewarding online banking experience.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So before we wrap up,
Okay.
let's distill all this information into some key takeaways
Sounds good.
for our listeners who are considering making the switch
Mm,
or are just curious about online banking safety.
great idea.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
do your research.
Always a good place to start.
The FDIC's Bank Find tool
Uh-huh.
and the CFPB's complaint database
Right?
are excellent resources for vetting a bank's legitimacy.
Right. And their track record.
And don't forget those online reviews.
Oh, those are gold.
They can give you valuable insights into a bank's customer service
Yeah.
and overall reputation.
It's like word of mouth for the digital age.
Exactly.
Make sure the bank's website is clear about its fee structure.
Right. No hidden surprises.
And look for things like multi-factor authentication
Right.
and fraud monitoring.
Those extra layers of protection.
Yeah, it's worth it.
If you're someone who prefers face-to-face interaction,
Mm-hmm.
consider whether the online bank's customer support options
Right, like phone, email, or live chat.
will meet your needs.
It's all about finding the right fit,
We learned that online banks can be just as safe
if not safer.
than traditional banks.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
our security also depends on our own digital habits.
Stuff like
Choosing
yours.
strong, unique passwords for
Uh-huh.
each of your accounts.
And being cautious about using public Wi-Fi.
It seems simple,
Right.
but it makes a big difference.
And let's not forget about those sneaky phishing scams.
Oh, those are the worst.
Always double-check the sender's email address.
And never click on suspicious links.
So much good advice here.
I hope it's helpful.
Staying informed about cybersecurity threats
Mm-hmm.
and keeping your software up to date
Can't stress that enough.
are essential for maintaining a strong digital defense.
Absolutely.
Online banking can be a fantastic option
Yeah, it really can.
for managing your finances,
The convenience, higher returns.
potentially even enhanced security.
It's a game changer for a lot of people.
But it's crucial.
To choose wisely.
Stay informed.
And be an active participant in your own online safety.
Think of it as a partnership.
Oh, I like that.
Between you and your bank.
Yeah.
They provide the tools.
But you have to use them.
To safeguard your financial well-being.
Couldn't agree more.
We hope this deep dive has empowered you.
To navigate the world of online banking.
With confidence and peace of mind.
That's what we're here for.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Stay curious.
Stay informed.
And happy banking.
Thanks for joining us.
That wraps up another insightful episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, brought to you by Elite Credit Solutions, your go-to resource for affordable credit repair across the United States. We appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you found the information valuable and empowering. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, don't hesitate to reach out to us at 813-317-6776. Additionally, don't forget to like today's podcast, follow us, or subscribe to stay in tune with future updates. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep striving for excellence in your credit journey.